Hello beautiful souls, in this video we're talking all about death, rebirth on the spiritual journey, how to navigate it, and me and my best friend Megan are going to be in this video talking all about our experience this past year. We did ayahuasca, we've traveled, we've moved, we've done a million things, and it's been a journey. And as a starseed, a light worker, a light being, whoever you are watching this video who is awakened on this path, who feels they have a mission on this earth, we can resonate with you. We know what it's like to go through these crunchy times and to feel a lot of interesting just pain and emotions on this journey of dying and rebirthing into the new human that you're here to be. So I hope you enjoy, and I want to say, you know, the first part of our video got cut off, unfortunately, which is why I'm making this intro, and I'm really sad about it because Megan was elaborating more on like her journey and kind of her take on death and rebirth. So it's gonna cut out at the beginning, but we're gonna jump into the rest of the video after this. So hope you enjoy, and we'll see you on the other side. Mwah. All right, sorry guys, the card was full. We're back. Keep spewing knowledge and wisdom.
I forgot where I was. Oh yes.
Getting hit with the baseball bat.
Multiple times, yes. So it's a continued process. So what has that looked like for you?
Well, for me, I mean, yeah, it's been a whole journey, but this year I feel like I have literally gone through more in 1 year than I have like in my whole life. And we were gonna share more of like our story this year, like living in Guatemala together, and kind of for me, oh my God, I just feel like who I thought I was, she died. Like old Katie gone, like completely. And it was the most beautiful, like I feel like a new woman, but it was like I had to release old patterns, old ways of being, old habits, and like people in my life too, relationships, things that weren't in alignment with like who I am now. And it was like in that process, it's so hard. Like, and I think the thing that a lot of people get caught up on in the journey is like sticking with people or with old ways of being as yourself, habits, because we're scared of the new. Like we were talking recently, we're really scared. Humans are naturally so scared of like change and growth. Like it's terrifying because I think we're more scared of our light than we are of the darkness. So it's like, oh my God, I have more power? Like, what do you mean? But it's like, you have to kind of accept that, and you have to let yourself, old self die, like literally die for you to rebirth into something new. And so I know for myself, like living in Guatemala, it was just like, I don't even know, like it's hard to put into words. I just know that like, I put myself, you know, just taking that leap to Guatemala, first off, was crazy big for me, leaving the States and living somewhere new, and
quitting your job.
Quit my corporate remote job was huge after doing ayahuasca, and not knowing what was in store for me. Like I think it, for me, was like, I knew that there was something coming as a result of it, but I was terrified to make that leap. I had no money plans. I had no money coming in. I was just like, I have to do this, like something in me. It's kind of trusting that guidance. And I think that's what I've done more than ever this year, is just following that, that guidance within me of like, okay, we're gonna do it. A voice said, quit your job. So I did it, and then moved to Costa Rica, and then I was told to come back to Montana, and it was just like terrifying. All these leaps, all these changes, but I knew I had to trust that voice, and I kept following it. And now I feel like a new woman because of just, all the things that have shed in my life. So it's like, that doesn't really explain it very well, but like,
that was beautiful.
Thank you.
And I feel like what you were just saying is like that it is a process and a journey of allowing spirit to redirect us wherever spirit sees fit. You know, and like you thought you were gonna be in Costa Rica for like ever and ever, and then something changed, and so you came here, and you were like, oh fuck, why am I here? But now it turned out to be beautiful, you know. And so I think that is such a huge part. It's like being able and willing to let go of your plans. And I think that's so what my life has been too. I mean, me, like I moved to Guatemala, and I was like, I am just gonna be like a free-flowing hippie fairy with no plan. And I was like, and I was just plunged into darkness in Guatemala, you know, and I was like faced with so much of my shit and like questioning what I want in my life. And like, I was there for 7 weeks, and I was like, I have to leave because it was just so intense, and that wasn't the plan, you know. And I had to go back, and I had to try to experiment with getting my graduate degree and following a more like
oh my God,
rigid
you
path.
were about to go to like get
I was about to get a $150,000 degree and be that much in debt.
Switch.
Yeah, so then we like switched. And we came out here and like
cancel, clear, delete that timeline.
Cancel, clear, delete. Yeah, so it's like there's been so many different iterations, and I think like from the outside, and I've like gotten this reflection from like my parents, if like just constantly switching and changing these big pivots, and it's like, oh my god, it's like whiplash out here, you know, for the people watching my life. I'm like, imagine how it feels for me if you have whiplash and you're still in your beautiful home just watching me through a phone. Like, imagine how it feels for me. Like, it's so ungrounded.
It's like my mom would be like, I just can't keep up, Katie. I'm like, you think I can keep up with this?
I'm holding on for dear life.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's challenging out here.
Yes, and but what you learn is like how, and like what I feel like I really learned this year is like learning how to hold myself through the pivots where you're like, holy fuck, and then like they just kind of become smooth, you know, eventually, you know, once you feel to the core of your beings. Like this morning I was sobbing on the floor of the bathroom, like holding onto myself for deep, kind of bulging, you know, like we are here a few hours later feeling great, and that just shows once you lean in, is so smooth. Yeah, it goes so much more fluidly.
Oh my god, so much. And that's what I think it is a lot of people are so afraid to lean into their emotions and the pain and to feel it. We try to run away from it and stray from it, and even in those pivots too, where it's like you said your path turned a different way and you were like, oh, I came out to Montana and now you're moving to Colorado. Like, it's just following that. And I feel like too, a big thing a lot of people don't do is like, you know, remember that we are on a path of sovereignty. We've talked about this a lot recently of like, you know, like for instance, like you said, when I was in ayahuasca literally showed me that my husband, my kids, and my life was going to start in Costa Rica. I was like, Costa Rica was home. She told me like, you need to go there. That's where your home is. And I was like, let's fucking go. And I was so ready, and then got there, totally not what I thought and totally not that. So I was plunged back to Montana, and it's like in those moments, how do you surrender and trust and not freak out or like, you know, try to cling on to old things you thought were what they were gonna be. Like, you have to just flow with it, kind of like you said, like let the whiplash just take place. Like, you know, the journey's not easy, it's not clear either. Like, I don't feel we're meant to know all the answers. Like, I feel like there is always that voice in us that knows and has the guidance for us, but at the end of the day, we're still kind of blindly trusting, like, I don't fucking know, like, you know. So yeah, it's kind of just like following that. And I think you and Ashlyn taught me this, especially in these times of like stress and intense confusion and like unknown. We're like, basically our nervous system is, what is the phrase I'm thinking, like we're training our nervous system to hold greater levels. And
so it's not like a bad thing if you're in this freak out state. It's like actually you're expanding your balloon to hold more of the intensities of life, you know. And as we're naturally expanding, we go through these periods of contraction and like freak out, and then expansion and ease, you know. And it's like actually the expansion can also hold some of the freak out, you know. It's like it's just part of the process. And our bodies are learning how to hold higher and higher amounts of energy. And that was actually in the book last night, Bringers of the Dawn, great book. Katie introduced me to it, a Pleiadian channel book. But they were saying like codes. It's like if you put something into a socket where there's too much electricity coming out through it, the socket is going to, or the electrical cord is going to like kill the machine, or like your toaster is gonna break, or like where the socket, or I'm not saying this well, but maybe it's the socket that goes out. But anyway, the point is it's like if it's too much voltage, the body is going to freak out. So we're like learning to expand our bodies and to hold more of the intensity, the change, and the unknown. And like what I was hearing while you were talking is like truth is malleable, like, and I feel like there's this understanding that there's like one truth, and like we have to stick by that truth at all times. And it's like, no, like it was true for you to go to Costa Rica. It was true that you felt like that was home. And then that truth changed, that like you needed a more grounding home, so you came here. You know, it was true for me that I was so sure about going to graduate school. And then it was so true that I was in a panic state living at home and I had to leave. So I left. And so it's like about tuning into that malleable truth and following that within the body.
Oh my God. I mean, amen. That's, I completely agree. And I think, you know, we even talked so much, is like, I feel like the expansion always happens after the contraction. The rebirth always happens after like the death. And so in those moments where you literally feel like you're dying, you literally feel like you're like, what the fuck is going on in my life? Like, surrender to it, trust it. Know that it's like serving your path, and it's like there's a higher purpose in that, because like we wouldn't know, we wouldn't experience that like alignment feeling where we're just like everything's in flow, we're trusting, we're creative, it's all good, if we didn't go through that like crunchy phase.
Yeah.
And it's not fun. It's really freaking intense, but it's like, you know, growing. And I believe too, like the greatest, I always say this, like the greatest healers, the greatest leaders, the greatest people on their path who really experience so much love and joy have gone through the depths of that, like confusion and pain.
Totally. Well, it's because you're then able to hold more of life, so you get to experience more of life. And I think that's actually what's so dangerous about social media, and I get so caught up in this too. Actually, cancel clear, I have gotten caught up in this. Cancel clearly. Is, you know, like you see just like these like happy-go-lucky love and light, like life is a dream reels, and you're like, fuck, like what are they doing that I'm not? And it's like remembering that like they have their moments too, like maybe behind camera they're like really struggling with their mental health, like whatever it is, you know. And it's like that, I really think the beauty in life is a result of the depth to which you are in tune with yourself and you've explored your inner realms, and then you just start attracting it, you know. But you have to peel back the layers first. So that's my theory. I mean, I don't actually know what these people are doing behind camera, but like it's not all love and light. And
everyone's path is so different. Like there are some people who I'm just like, maybe their path is literally just, they're just in this happy bubble all the time. I don't know how, and I'm like, you are a queen, but like not my life.
I can't relate.
So it's like, you know, and again, it's a blessing to experience all those, the intensity, because it's like, you know, in that book even talks about it, like we are here to experience emotions, and if you can lean in so deeply to the freaking intensity of your emotions and pain and whatever experience happened in your life, heartbreak, been going through that, it's literally like an expansion of the heart. It doesn't feel like that in the moment, it feels like pain, but it's like I feel like you're expanding your heart too, like kind of like when
to hold more love.
And so it's just kind of like knowing that it's not forever. The pendulum always must swing. You taught me that. And it's so true. So yeah, and I do want to hear, I want you to tell who's ever listening, like your experience in ceremony this year. We sat in an ayahuasca ceremony together. And I'm curious what that was like for you and how you feel that ties to not just like your rebirth now, but like maybe any rebirth you've had this year. Like, do you feel like that was a big part of it, or do you feel like that wasn't a pivotal part?
I mean, I think it like was. I won't go into too much of the details, but it was a very intense ceremony. And yeah, I feel like that actually, like it really helped me to practice holding myself more, you know. Like it was balls to the walls, like I was fucking losing my shit, you know. And the second night I was able to really like hold yourself through this, like find steadiness in the discomfort, you know, because ceremony naturally brings it up. And I feel like I anchored in myself in like a way I hadn't before, and it was like through the songs and the prayers and the music that I was able to do that. And I think that's like carried out. It's actually an interesting question because I haven't really thought about it too much, but I feel like there's a I feel like this year has been, I hear the word like solidity, like I've been coming into more and more like wholeness and solidity and integrity in myself. And to me that means integrity of my parts, like more aspects of myself I've been drawing out of the closets. And that ceremony brought some huge guys out of the closet, and I've been like bringing them in, and I think that's really allowed me to know myself deeper and to show up in more authenticity and to like follow the pivots and like carve this life. So yeah, I'm very grateful.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Do you feel it was for you?
It's, you know what's weird? It's like, I don't even know. I still sit back and I'm like, I still feel like I'm integrating that because I don't really know what it was. A beautiful experience for me. It was very heart opening, and I was like crying most of the time because it was beautiful. Like I remember there wasn't really a lot of pain that I felt. But it, like I said, it was showing me like, oh, Costa Rica's home, husband, all the things. But I think I needed to be told that because she's a trickster. I think she showed me that so that I could get my ass to Costa Rica, to then realize that I needed to get here to have this crazy experience I've had.
And also the revelations you've been having around that husband life, like that's
oh my god, so many big things around, you know. It's been my biggest thing I've ever wanted, was like love and like seeking it outside of me, and like of course like I still part of me wants that and wants to create that. But it was like almost like I was hanging onto it like a rope, and that ties to a lot of like things I've been healing around trauma and ancestral things. But yeah, I think it showed me a lot of like what I thought I wanted. I've been able to heal. And I think too, I don't know if this is from ayahuasca or what, but I finally feel like, especially as of like a month ago, I am like my real personality. I've always felt like there was this wall, and I almost feel like, I mean, my voice has come online way more, making these videos. I feel way more myself. My goofiness is like, it's like I'm seeing who Katie is now, and just stepping into like a woman, you know, like chopping my hair, doing all these things. I think it was like a big like letting go of old Katie. And I feel like whether it's from ceremony or multitude of things throughout the year, I think, yeah, it was the start of that unraveling of like, you know, finding me.
Yeah. And I think that's actually a big theme that we've been talking about, is like we both feel we've become a woman this year.
Yeah.
You know, and I'd actually be curious if you're watching this, if you feel that too. But like there's just something like, I don't know, there's just been a tangible transition. Like we look at videos of ourselves like a year ago, a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and we're like, fuck. You know, and it's actually crazy, like what a year can do.
I know.
You know, like
insane.
This year has been the most insane year. Like it feels like it's gone by like that fast.
No, like actually, guys, it's the most insane thing. We were looking at old photos of us being like, who are those women? 1 year ago, and I think
it gives me chills.
I know, and I think that's just it. Is like we've gone through so much. I mean, I remember every month the past year, like especially in Guatemala, was just like ripping open of things that I think you can literally push through so much in 1 year and become a whole new person. And I feel like we've not only stepped into like,
if you're
women,
willing to lean the fuck in and die.
That. Oh yeah, we did a whole like Mayan womb massage course, which was a whole death too in itself. But yeah, I think it's like, you know, when you lean in super hard, like we not only became women, but I feel like we're so like understanding of our mission here. Like obviously,
we stand taller.
Yeah, we stand taller. We're more confident in who we are in our voice, and I can see in us like way clearer like the power that we have. Whereas like you told me a year ago, I had so much doubt. Not even 6 months ago, I was like looking at, you know, one of our other friends, just being like putting them on a pedestal as being like, oh my god, they have so many, like they're here for a greater purpose. Like I'm not. And now I can actually confidently say like, oh no, I see the freaking power that we have. And that's like something I've never been able to say before, and it feels so good, you know?
Yeah, and it takes some layering to be able to get to that knowingness within, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think for anyone watching this, it's like,
it's getting dark.
Yeah, so we'll wrap it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, anyone watching this, like your journey is your journey. You know, it's not gonna look like art, it's not gonna look like that influencer, it's not gonna look like that like biohacking yogi online.
And you don't want it to.
No, you don't want it to.
Yeah.
And it's going to be like perfect, and it's unfolding, and like, you know, I'm still practicing knowing this, you know, like trusting the process, but like do trust the process, you know, because like it's actually interesting. It's like I look at the past year, and like I've actually had questions about the past year. I'm like, what did I even do? Like, did I do anything? And it's like, actually, no. Like, it has been a reclaiming of parts, and that's all part of the process. And maybe it looks like I've just been a bouncing fairy who can't make up her mind. Kind of true, but like I've been learning a lot through it, and so like just trusting, like what are those calls? Where is something pulling you? Just like fucking go, like be a little reckless. Yeah, because like it's not all about just having everything figured out.
Yeah, and what you just said, on the outside, to people, to family, to others, it might look like you're just like a frolicking fairy who doesn't have their life together, and it's like, oh, so and so, they can't pick a place. I've been told this, you've been told this, like, oh, where are you going next? Like almost like you're this delusional like person who can't figure out their life, but like you know your path, you know what you're doing, you know that inner guidance you're following, and so always stay true to yourself and trust that you are following that path, and it's not like you're just this delusional fairy who can't figure their life out. Like you keep following your truth, and who cares what people think? People are gonna judge, people are not gonna understand you, people are gonna literally think, I know, especially too if you're going through phases where you're like dying emotionally, pain is occurring in your life, I've been questioned, like, are you mentally okay? Like, do you need help? And it's like, can be frustrating because people just won't simply understand this path that you're on, but it's like, you know that you're on it, you know you're sane, and so just trust yourself.
And reach out to your sisters who don't project you to...
Or brothers if you're a man.
Yep, sisters or brothers that don't think that you belong in a mental hospital.
Yeah.
Because, you know, I've got on those projections too. Really not fun. They make actually the pain really
way worse. Because you actually start to think maybe I am going crazy.
Yeah.
Yep. And you actually start to think maybe my family's right.
Yep. But cancel, clear, delete, those are not true. Those are just projections.
You're iconic, you're queen or king, and you are unique. And
you're on your unique path, and like lean in.
Yes.
And like, bitch, you don't have to have it all figured out, because oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing next week. I know where I'm living, but like what? Actually, guys.
Yeah.
Like I actually can't tell you what my life will look like in about 8 days.
Yeah.
Story of my life. But like, God, it's a nitpick adventure. You know what? And this is the thing. What is the story you're going to write at the end of your life? Ours are going to be pretty sick.
Pretty freaking epic. And like, guys, she's moving away from me tomorrow, and I'm going to spend the entire day probably crying and contemplating my life of why, you know, she has to leave my life. But like, we're feeling it. We're like knowing it's a part of our path. And like, that's the beauty of this journey too, is like with something, I'll just close one more thing I want to add. Something too, like we, like on this path, you probably have attracted soul friendships and people that like are very unique, and we've experienced coming together and then moving and then being in different places. And it's not fun. It's painful, but like trusting ourselves and knowing that like, that's a part of this path is like,
we always come back.
Yeah. And follow the call elsewhere, and you'll come back together, and it's a beautiful journey and dance, and yeah, so. But anywho, we're gonna wrap it up, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for tuning in. And
my YouTube will be linked in the bio if you want more of
powerful
me. Whatever my name is, still deciding.
Yep, she's in the middle of a name transition. It's happening.
It's a big thing.
It's big.
So you'll see my name on my YouTube.
Yeah. But yeah, so thank you so much for joining us, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video. And yeah, you're a queen or king, and we kiss the camera to say goodbye. Mwah!